So good morning, good evening, and good welcome wherever you are in the world. My name's Laura Mack, and the aim of the show is to awaken your souls and enlighten you with things that you didn't know, and now you will. It's a place for change, to grow your mind and really find out why you are here, to live a life with purpose. And I'm so grateful to meet amazing, gifted souls in my lifetime. And I have a profound gift myself, and this is the place where I share it with our world, where we awaken our mind, our body and soul. Do you know how magical you truly are? So guys, as you know, I go on my little journey out there, and when I'm doing the wonderful things, even these events or the places that I go, I just meet profound, truly energetic and real soulful people that if someone has a gift, I want to bring it onto this show. And today I'm excited and so happy to welcome to you. I found this man at a soul festival that we were presenting at the other week, and it was so lovely. And this was just when you come out for one of those moments. I was taking a shower, stepped out the room, was talking to my guys and the colleagues I was with about all this energy work that I love doing. So yeah, I was dressed, by the way, when I got out the shower. So we're all in this field, and you know, so the first spot I go to is my coffee stand. And it's that one moment where I'm in that joy of my ritual in the morning. I have my coffee, and then I meet this man that just stands right in front of me. And I thought my he just bounced off my energy, and I felt him. It's like a hot water bottle was just stood in front of me in this profound heat. And I would like to welcome to you, Mr. Ben Calder. Hello, Ben. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, Laura. What a beautiful introduction. I can confirm for everybody listening, she was definitely dressed, fully organized, and likewise just had this amazing energy that sometimes you can only find in a queue for your morning coffee.
That's right. And, you have to do these rituals in the morning, and this is when these things just pop up and it's the right time. So, I cannot thank you enough for just really entering into my space and allowing me to feel the profound love and the real truth that the words were just spoken, and you left a real significant mark because you said something profound about me without even knowing me. You just tuned into me straight away. And obviously that was our moment. And yeah, I was just overwhelmed, and I wanted to bring you on this show today so that you can introduce yourself to everybody in our wonderful world.
Thank you. So glad that just the musings of a man who's also looking for his morning coffee were able to do something so profound and so beneficial for you. I love that.
Yeah, so it was, wasn't it? Now, obviously, I had a little bit of a taster of what you do at the event that we were both at. So that's how I met you. And just want to tell everyone, obviously, there's quite a little story on this, which is how I got to tell, when we first met, this is what I said. I'd been searching online for Qigong, and I'd gone to a far, far away place, which, was not even in our country. And here I was searching, and something popped up for Qigong. And then there you go. And you went, Laura, that's my brother. And I went, well, I have met the man here in England who I'm meant to meet, because you're just profound with, tell everyone a little bit about what you do, Ben, and what's your main, I always say we have our magic that is our passion. It's our love that comes truly natural. We're born with a gift. I truly believe we are. And when we find that, but what's your ultimate that you would say is, is it Qigong? Am I right? You do many things, but what is the ultimate for you?
I mean, that's a very nuanced question in the first place, because my work is incredibly diverse. I consider myself to be a multidisciplinary therapist, in the fact that for over 20 years, I've been combining kinesiology with aspects of everything from body work in the form of Bowen Technique, which you got to experience, and nutrition, epigenetics, everything from subtle energy fields, so homeopathy, vibrational essences, aromatherapy, crystals, all sorts of adjustments into body energy that follow a lot of the traditional Chinese 5-element theory, integral transpersonal psychology, because I'm also an integral therapist in the fact that I follow a very particular philosophical framework known as integral theory, developed by a guy called Ken Wilber. And I do scar release work. I'm also an integral relationships facilitator, so I work in relationship spheres with people. And then there's the Qigong, which is our mindful movement that I would say is the deeper passion. That's the thing that it doesn't matter if it never makes me any money. It will always be the thing that I will do because it's there to enrich my life and therefore my interaction in the world around me, which therefore has a benefit on everybody else's life as well. Because like we know, if we're in a good place, then what we're going to share out becomes healthier for those around us.
I love that. And my hands have just gone so warm and so hot, because it's like we're talking of this wonderful life force energy that we all have. And you said something key there that so resonates, because I'll hold my hand up. We do this. What we love and what we're truly passionate about, we do for free. Yeah. So here I am in my life of being attuned to the energies that I was at 16. But before that, I'm like, what do we ultimately all feel compelled to do? That's to help people. And you said it's your deeper passion that's underneath. But within all that, even for your epigenetics and all of this, it all combines that. If you didn't have all of that's the magic with you, Ben. And I'm trying to get everybody in the audience. Remember, we've got people from everywhere here that it's trying to put that into one particular packet. And you obviously, we have all these layers and we'll go through these core layers, but to have that, it's knowing a piece of everything else, which over a period of time you've done this for over 20 years plus. And that's amazing learnings. You can't just you cannot pick this up overnight. And I say the learnings is the most profound that allows us to combine that together. And I did have the Bowen's technique with you, didn't I, when we was at the show? So I just want to let all you viewers know out there, I'd never had such an amazing, not going to call it, I'm going to give it so the visual people here. It was like I was lying down for the intense pressure point for these points of my meridians and my body, or my chakras and my muscle points to feel. And Ben could feel and was talking to me at the same time. And this man didn't know anything about me. Okay. But he's saying things about my past. He's knowing where I'm holding it. And then he was and you were intuitively just that's the gift, isn't it? It just comes through, and you were feeding through myself, and it was so quiet and so, when someone's doing a massage, what's coming next. You just never know what was coming. And I purposely had the session with you because I fell off a horse, and that's been really giving me, it was, by the way, past tense, it was giving me this little niggle that I could feel that had never been there before. So if I was lifting my weights or doing a squat or even moving a bicep curl, I was feeling it in my back. So you sort of tuned in, didn't you, to my, remember, these guys are just listening to us here. So, I'm trying to paint the picture for them, and you tuned into my body, pushed on my pressure points. This is what I'm explaining it from myself. Pushed on my pressure points, but at the same time, intuitively talked to me as to where I was possibly holding trauma in my body.
Yeah.
Is that a good way of explaining that?
It's not a bad way of just explaining it, although I would always say that I think sometimes intuition is used in a way to talk about like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the intuitive direction is always tempered by knowledge, skill, experience, and wisdom. So over the years of literally hands-on to thousands and thousands of bodies, there is feedback through my fingertips, through the sensations of how your body responds, the tension in there, and what in LifeForce Qigong we relate a lot into biotensegrity and the alignment of our biotensegrity structures within the body, and that feedback is an indicator as to whether or not something is likely to need some kind of support. And then we go through the process of doing what's classically known as the Bowen move, which is the light rolling movement that we do over your tissues. And again, for people listening, Bowen isn't a deep touch fascia release. It's relatively light in comparison to like traditional massage, certainly the opposite of something like Thai massage or the Rolfing techniques. And so we're using these light touch treatments to give the body an opportunity to make an adjustment for itself, because we're bringing attention in and say, what's going on here? And we're allowing the body to think about it. And then we're listening to the response, again, non-verbally through the fingers, and then deciding where to progress with any treatment at that point.
Yeah. And when you said that, I do want to clarify, like remember when I started, I said it was like soft. And then it was just it wasn't a pressure as in, yeah, I've had some deep massages and so it wasn't like that. You were just really sort of, in and around the area. But then it's sort of, there was other parts then of my body that we all forget, don't we, where we're connected to. And I say we're off. If people are forgetting doing this, Ben, now they're forgetting to put their arms in the air because we're all sat there steering a car, cooking food on a computer, on a phone, and they're not moving. Yeah, kids are all like, and I'm doing so you all know visual, kids are all bent over like this these days because they're constantly on the phones all the time, not generalizing, just saying this is our society now. We forget to stretch our arms up and move all of our body, and people should be moving more and more, shouldn't they?
Absolutely.
This is. So what would you say, with your Qi Gong, Ben, and the energy, and obviously what's your main thing that you love doing for yourself, that's your personal little ritual? So what do you have any form of techniques done to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've always advocated this idea that actually we are incredibly complex machines that for the most part run themselves. So, our phones, our cars, they're very similar things. But one of the things that we know about our cars, for instance, is that most of us can understand a few basics in there. So we know how to top the tires up. We know how to check the oil. We know how to check the coolant in the engine. And for most people, that's about as far as we get. So that's akin to knowing that you need to breathe, knowing that you need to drink water, knowing that you need to have some food. And those are our first kind of indicators to avoid entropy, to avoid this devolving into chaos or dissonance within our bodies. And what I like to do and what I do in my practice is essentially we want to create resonance. We want to create harmony. We want to create coherence so that the system is running as best as possible. So I'm like a body mechanic. I'm there to assess what's going on with that vehicle at deeper levels than most people know how to observe or to understand and can't necessarily get to. Like, I go and see my Bowen therapist every month because that way they can get to points on my back that I physically couldn't reach. I go and see my acupuncturist every month. I have a talk therapist that I go to if there's stuff I need to talk through. I have a herbalist that I go to if I feel I need herbal intervention. So I've got a team of people that surround me. So, I've got my own kinesiologist so that if I think I need an intervention, and I do these things as regular servicing, because I consider that I put my vehicle not just through high mileage, but through rough terrain. So to really be able to maximize that, I need to have that checked regularly and assessed and adjusted. And it's a constant refinement. What I need in the summer, not the same as what I need in the winter. What I need if I've got a super busy period on is totally different to what I need if it's relatively relaxed. So it's having that awareness that you can't do the same thing continuously, except for refine what you're doing.
We all have to do our work, Ben, ourselves, don't we? This is why I asked you that question, and I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. People, when we're out, I always have a little bit of a laugh and a joke, because when there's a plumber never, sorts his house out, does he? But a coach or a Bowen's or a Qi Gong or a master of what we do, we're always fine tuning and doing work on ourselves and keeping that going, because that's important, because we're always working with other people. So we have to do that, don't we? And that's why I asked you the question to see. And there he was, guys. Did you hear that? He does everything. This is what we do. It's like, I'll go out and I'll have my rituals that I follow, and that's my sequence. Because if I didn't, I couldn't keep myself topped up. And we have to, who does ourselves? We have to have that. A coach has a coach as well. And, thank you for sharing that, because people think, we do this job and then we don't know, but they don't do anything outside of that. I'm like, yes, we do.
But even on a daily basis, it's the case of when I get up in the morning, what am I doing? A bit of meditation, cold shower, good breakfast, so these practices are there all the time. often in the evenings, even if I'm relaxing or we're watching a bit of TV or something like that, I'm still doing kind of fascia release work, little bits of stretching. I'm adjusting myself all the time, even during the day. If I'm sat on a chair or I'm driving, I'll find ways to go, well, I'm just checking in with myself. And, I think we have to be careful not to put that into an anxious or an obsessive practice, which it can become, but actually just checking in. Dude, are you okay? I'm okay. How are you doing today, dude? Well, you're not sitting great. Okay, great. So let's just adjust that a little bit so that I'm listening to the feedback, the noise that is constantly being produced by my body anyway, and just trimming the sails, adjusting oversteer, understeer. It's just simple ways of helping me to get to where I need to be each day.
Yeah, and I loved it, Ben, because you give just some little simple tips and things to do that's so easy that we forget. I said this to some friends, at the weekend, how active and the sports and things you do. And then you go home and then you're like, oh my God, I forgot we used to do that, and it's just the little simple maneuvers that, we as adults, when I'm 44 now and, I'm stretching more than what I did. And, before, it happens to us because our body changes and we are constantly on the go with something, with an energy as well that's around us. I love my energy. I work on energy. And if I'm feeling that stagnant and I know I'm feeling tense and I'm feeling a little bit flustered, or I know I've got to then center myself and do the work, because like you say, we say that word, we have to check in. You have to have a check-in to make sure that you're really fine-tuning every aspect. And, we're urging people to do that more so, aren't we, Ben? That's why we want them to come to what you do and, take care of your mind, body and soul more. And I just want to touch on where you started with this, when you said about the 5 elements of where it all comes from. And this is why we're all paying attention now to, and it's more and more in our world, isn't it? Have you noticed it's light? People are lightening up more and more to understand about this earth, fire, air, water. We all need this space. People are taking more time to find that space. Myself and you was at an event that was a soul soul festival where people were, there was, we had so many ladies that were on their own. And I said, you remember that lady who was with us that come to your stand? And I turned and spoke to her and she says, I'm on my own. I've come to the festivals. My husband's at home. He doesn't want to do this. She said, but I needed to break out to find myself and to start to work with my body. And she says, and I come to these events on my own. So it's like, it's happening more and more now, isn't it? That we're waking up. Have you found that your business has gone from strength to strength over the past couple of years alone because of people that have had that shift? Would you say that?
I would say over the 20 years that I've been in professional practice, it's always continued to improve. And there's been this increase in people that have realized that the conventional patterns that they've been given of how to care for themselves, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, environmentally, in their relationships, they're realizing that they're not adequate. And there's definitely an increase in the percentage of people that are willing to look beyond where they are, rather than just doing the same thing and getting the same thing in return, that are exploring and definitely, over the last 3 years, and we all know why and what kind of dissonance that created for a lot of us. There's been another lift off to another level that is almost, it's unprecedented. I didn't really expect it. And it's come at a time where actually I've been trying to not do as much so that I can concentrate more on my own cultivation and my own growth, which in Qigong, we've got this kind of endless stream of stuff. And, answering the question about where all this started, for various reasons, I didn't have the easiest of childhoods. It wasn't bad in a lot of way, but absent father from the time I was 2 years old, and lots of bits that created dysregulation in my nervous system. So if I was going through a schooling system now, I would definitely be neurodiverse. I would definitely have been classed as probably ADD or ADHD, and there's a good chance they would have marked me up on the autistic spectrum. But as a teenager, essentially what I was restless and sugar addicted. So, those are the two easiest ways. Very difficult to cope. I didn't deal with school very well at all. I found it very difficult to socialize, and that produced a lot of social anxiety for me. And then at 15, I was lucky enough that my mum had a good friend who ran a personal development, psychic development circle. And my mum said, well, why don't we go just to see if there's anything you kind of like in there? And so we used to go every month and do this thing, and that was cool. And I learned some really interesting stuff. But this lady had an event that she ran, the Cornwall New Age, that ran from the kind of early 90s all the way up until the kind of early thousands. And I used to go along with mum. We used to help set the thing up, and and help with the organization. And when the workshops were taking place, somebody had to take the tickets on the workshop doors and then sit at the door for the first 15 minutes or so to make sure that people didn't disturb it. And I always sat inside of the door so I could listen to the talks that were going on. So as a 15-year-old, I started listening to all these teachers talking about all these other options about what you could do. And thanks to a shiatsu practitioner that gave a talk, I cured my insomnia in about 3 days, just from doing a self-regulatory pressure point that she taught. And at that same thing, and I think this is a weird cosmic deja vu, because I met this old guy called Ben who taught Qigong.
Ironic.
I still see it as a funny kind of life loop. And he taught me he introduced me to standing practices, which the traditional form of this in Chinese is Zhamzhong, which means standing like a tree. And that was just the hardest thing for me as a teenager because I was restless, but I, learned the practice. And it was amazing how over a period of years, I was very dedicated holding on to it. Over a period of years, this mind that would just go on and on about how stuff needed doing. I mean, we know the noise in the head, and it would just become quiet, and it would wait, because it knew I wasn't going to not stand there. So it just started shutting up. And the longer I stood there, the more it shut up. And so this was kind of my initial introduction into Qigong, and started learning various bits myself, and was lucky enough to connect with some really good teachers over this period of Qigong is actually over 30 years now. And I've worked with some grandmasters in these practices, and had some really good teachers. And then over the last 10 years, almost exclusively, I've been practicing. And then in the last 5 years or so, teaching LifeForce Qigong, which is a system that was discovered and developed by my brother, Sai, who spent many, many years out in Asia, studying with a lot of great teachers out there, realizing that they were all giving him bits of the puzzle, but all deliberately leaving stuff out. And the more teachers he went to, the more comprehensive that model got. And he spent a lot of time taking out a lot of the mystical language that made it not necessarily easy to put into a pragmatic usage in the body. And then we've been sharing this now and teaching people really how to, connect into who you are, really getting into your own awareness, how to heal, how to cultivate vibrant energy, restore your harmony within both your inner and your outer worlds as well. So it empowers us to access our personal living energy fields and breathe in that inspiring essence of life itself, and release these fascial blockages in the joints and the tissues, unlock that vital energy and allow it to circulate, which then in its nature is going to clear away old traumas, old karmas, old resistances. And, he's created something, in my opinion, that is genius.
Yeah. And that's what just got me, when I was speaking to you, this is what has had me hooked, and the passion that comes through. And when we create something, I was attuned to a Reiki energy, and I told you that this is from what I use. And then I'm always having other things that come through myself. And when you work with that, we go on our journey. And when then you've got something that you have been shown or given or guided to create and produce, we are the creator of all that's within, right? So here, your brother and yourself just know that this works, and we've all got it inside ourselves. And if then we've guided and something from traditions from ages, I say the traditional things with our new modern age of stuff that we know, because we're on this earth plane now, bringing it in to show everybody and to enlighten them. That's why you are teaching it now, because you have a class, don't you, Ben? You go online and do your classes online for people to do your Qi Gong. So how often do you do that?
Yeah, so every Tuesday and Thursday we have a 7 o'clock class that's available, and we do have people joining in from around the world, around the country, that connect in for that. So we have a really nice little community of people practicing, and then we also do those in person as well. So the Tuesday class is in Shrewsbury in the Midlands, and the Thursday class is just outside of a town called Mold in North Wales, not to be confused with the weird stuff that grows on your bread. But it's, they're lovely little communities to come and practice in. And we also do, every year, we do seasonal retreat days as well that are 5-element indicated. So we did our fire element, our summer day back in May. We've got our late summer earth element day coming up at the end of July. And then we have our autumn metal stuff in October, and our winter one in December.
That sounds so much fun. I love, this is what I was on about. You feel the energy off of him, everybody. You just need to stand in front of this man, because it is really something powerful. And it's like, when you talk about this, Ben, this is where you found something, didn't you, that when you were younger, and this has been a 30-year journey now, that just really resonated with your soul. And when we have something, it's like I've been on a journey myself, and I think I told you I hadn't experienced trauma up until a few years back, that, it takes that part of you that you're just like, oh, I'm missing. I don't quite feel myself. It's like you need to bring yourself back together again, because those parts of you have just been broken, and, and it's our learnings. And when you do then come through that, and then, you embark then on another journey of I said to you, Qigong's just been pulling me since I was younger. I did, Reiki at an age of 15. So I was really young, and I feel that energy in between my hands automatically. It's there, and everybody's got this. And when you start to connect that Qi and all of it put together, you start to feel our own force. It's like I say, I've got like 2 magnets between my hands, Ben, that I can feel it. And if I put my hands over myself, and if I'm feeling negative, let's just say it for the purpose of everyone listening, I'd feel that sensation of that dense energy and that pins and needles underneath my hand, and my brain, my soul, I go, oh, that's not good, feeling good. Let's clear that. So then I'll release it. And it's, and this is where I'm trying to, people that have been thinking about coming to do Qigong, or even, find out some of the stuff that you're doing, and it's, it's there, because this is what happens. If you're feeling it or thinking it and it's coming up, I urge you to try and just search and read about it. Ben will share anything with that, and he'll tell you how profound it is. And, people just think, don't they? Oh, this is what we get some of the skeptical mates that you go, oh, energy, who's pulling that in? You can't do that. It's because they can't see it. They want to see something. But the feeling of it is when we connect kinesthetically, you start to feel that anyway. When we bring like we say, the noise, let's bring the noise down from our head, and everybody come down here to feel it. Because like you said at the start, didn't you, for meditating, that at first we get that chatter, don't we, Ben? It's going off 100 miles an hour. And once you start that quiet, it's easy to get into that nice deep state, isn't it? And, trying to tell anyone, remember, I want the people that are on this edge, that are, we're awakened souls, but these are the people that are sat there, knowing that they're finding stuff like this, but they just aren't taking the step to do it. This is why I do these shows, Ben, because I want them to take that next new opening, really, to allow their 3 elements of life to come together for them, for their mind, body and soul. So
this is why I really love Qigong, in that it's pragmatic and accessible. So one of the things, I mentioned earlier on Ken Wilber, who is the philosopher that inspired the model that I use around my health practice. And, he talks about why our understanding of meditation from a scientific point of view is so confused. So firstly, science wants to reduce things down to measurable, practical, observable phenomena. So, for example, if you put brainwave monitors on meditators, you can see their brainwaves go into particular states very easily, very quickly, and very consistently. But what that doesn't tell you is the phenomenology of the experience that's actually going on inside the meditator's brain. Yep. All that does is tell you what its correlate is in a measurement. And so when you think about meditation, it's a technology and we practice it. So just in the same way that I couldn't walk into the laboratory of a PhD researcher, pick up his equipment and expect to reproduce the results of his experiments, because I don't have that training and experience, I don't expect anyone to meditate for 5 minutes and tell me they understand meditation. I don't expect anyone to do Qigong for 5 minutes and tell me that they understand and know its limits and know its capabilities. Qigong is pragmatic. You pick it up and you practice and you refine that practice, and you will get to the point where you have clear, strong, palpable connection into your energy and how that flows within you. And you get to really delve into the profound wisdom that empowers you inside yourself. And it's a deeply transformative journey. You know, there's nothing like really getting in touch with that felt sense, to really engage with your innate wisdom, deep connection with your own bio-vitalis, your wellspring of life within you. And I can talk about that poetically, powerfully, you know, passionately, and have you feel inspired by it. But you got to come and stand in the room with me and do the practice. And then you get to have it not just as an idea, not just as a nice experience, but as a tool that you can use to regulate yourself throughout your life whenever you need it. And all you need is a small amount of space, and you don't even need to be ambulant. So, for example, if you're in a wheelchair, you've got restrictions in movements in your limbs, we can still teach you how to connect into that vital life energy without believing that that thing stops you from doing it.
Yeah, because we've all got the life force, everyone, for all of you that are listening. No matter, you know, we're all wonderful, magical, beautiful people, and we have this energy that's all within us, through around us, and we're just, you know, we're connecting to that source. And Ben is really something else when he does what he does. So I'd love for you all to reach out. Now, Ben, you've got some events that are coming up, and you just said to me, because we had a little chat before we started the podcast, you did a show and 88 people, just imagine 88 people have been, I'll say, healed and transformed. You know, I know we're not allowed to say this in our wonderful world, but yeah, when we do this thing, we go, I've been healed by Ben doing his thing with me, and I feel amazing now. So that set me off right back on track. So thank you very, very much for that, because it truly worked. And yeah, so where, you know, what have you got coming up? And I believe that we've got something exciting for you working. You've been asked to work at the Russell brand, which is the event on the 14th to the 7th of July, which is for the community event. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So I was cheeky last year, and I ended up with an opportunity to speak to somebody in Russell's events team. And I did what we should always do, which was just kind of say, hey, I've got this idea and I think it'd be really good at the festival next year, because, you know, I've got a lot of respect for the journey that I see Russell being on, with his sobriety, with his own personal development, and you know, just the people that he's bringing together, and that type of energy of cooperation and self-support, you know, mutual support that he's creating. So I just reached out and got cheeky and got invited. So, you know, if you have a look on the bill posters for it, I'm there on the bill this year. So I'll be teaching Qigong each day at Russell's event. And I'm also going to be doing Bowen Technique as well. So those 80 plus bodies that went through me at the Eden Festival a couple of weeks back, you know, and I would always say that what we're doing with Bowen is we're both encouraging and giving space and support for you to do your own healing, you know, and that's what's there with that. So we'll be at Russell Brand's Community Festival. I'm going to be doing a small Shropshire festival beginning of July as well, the Living Well Festival, which is a free to attend one-day event in Shrewsbury Town Park. Really nice stuff there. I've also been invited by Om Bass Rach, who we also met in the Soul Festival the other week. Invited to her Om Bass Festival in Oxfordshire, the 8th to 10th of September.
Amazing.
So we've got some fun stuff coming, and like I said, we've got our end of our late summer Earth Element workshop on the 23rd of July in North Wales, and we'll also have the founder of LifeForce Qigong, Calder, here in the UK, which is a pretty rare event. He spends most of his time living in Bali, but he's going to be here the 1st to 3rd of September, teaching like a really deep introduction into LifeForce Qigong for people. And again, this is an opportunity to touch hands with the master. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, I'm going to be in Poland in August with him to do his 5-element trauma release workshop, which again is going to be beautiful. But then we'll have him here in the UK 1st to 3rd of September as well.
Yeah, just guys, you've got to go and meet them all and go and see Ben, and certainly get involved with this, because I'm completely hooked and I'm just now loving it. He's been so busy. He's just a hard man to get hold of because he's just so busy, but he's doing wonderful things out there. So the next event, which is the 14th to the 17th of July at the community event for Russell Brand. And obviously that's where you're doing your Bowen, your Qi Gong. Now, obviously, guys, I like to keep this simple so that you can really drop this in your full awareness and to actually make note of Ben's handles, because there's so many these days, Ben, we can't keep up with them all, can we? It's just easy to drop that nice one drop that everyone can now get the phones out, make a note of it, pull over in the car, take the pen and paper and write it down. So if we go to your link tree, I believe your link tree is /Ben Calder Integral Health. That's right. So I'm going to say it again. That's linktree /Ben Calder Integral Health. So guys, it's so easy. It's so easy for you to just remember that and put it in your favorites in your phone. So Ben, what's the next mission? And, what are we doing? I'm out there wanting to transform as many lovely women and men at the moment. I'm on a mission to heal and have everybody really know that it's the power to love thyself and, fine tune our mind, body and soul. I've done energy work since I was 15, 16. I'm now 44, work with the brain and do various stuff. I love what I do and love meeting people like you. And, thank you for making a difference in our world. And our passion is to heal as many people. I believe, you're on the same mission too. And we need to release our trauma and let go of our negative emotions and work with our physical body to remove all of that. What's your ultimate mission that you're on for your lifetime now?
It's one that, again, especially in the last few years, I've found difficult, because there's a part of my perspective, and it's interesting, the seeds of this I can see all the way back to my university days when I was struggling in university, and we had the earliest of the Hubble Deep Space Telescope pictures come out. And in there's a picture of Spiral Galaxy M51, and it's this enormous galaxy that if you look at it really closely, you will also see that there's lots of little galaxies inside of it. And I reminded myself, and it was my self-help tool in college, it became a wallpaper on my laptop, that if all that's going on up there, I don't have to worry about anything down here, because it's all pretty small and doesn't really matter that much. So it gave me a very different perspective on life. So to be honest, in true Taoist form, my mission in life is just to continue to be in harmony with everything and everyone around me as best as I can, to bring as much love and joy and happiness and balance and flow into my life and therefore all the lives around me as I can. And just to not get too hung up into all the small stuff that isn't worth sweating about.
Yeah, because it's just not, is it? And, people bless them. They're out there at the moment, fight and flight, worry and, and it's not a nice place to be in that. And it's right. We do have to be in complete harmony, don't we? And when we do, the noise, it's just calming, and I just want to, one thing here, Ben, when there's people out there and I'd love everyone just to try it. And it's like, I think of the people that are, that are not kinesthetic. Let's go with people that are really in their head, right? And this is for all the people that are, they love they love to read. They're an AD. They're fully in their head all the time. They find it less easy to push that down there. What would we say to them to get them to just try this? What would be a little tip that you'd get them to sense something now or feel that they could take away and then just come and try it out? And, know what this life force is all about that we're all connected to. What would you say? Have you got a little tip that they could do? Because I know a lot of my friends that are in their head, right? And I would love them to just sense this, because they think I'm off my rocker when I talk about all this, energy stuff. They really do. But I'm like, listen, it's working for me. So yeah, what would you give to everybody that's listening?
I would always say breathe. There is nothing quite, and again, the vehicle for Qi is so often the breath. We use the mind to lead the Qi, to lead the blood. So breathing down, and try with your mind to touch the very base of your body as you breathe in, and feel that point and notice it, and just pause ever so gently and then release that as you breathe out. And just keep on taking your mind back down to that place. And it's such a simple and easy way of doing a thing. And it doesn't have, this is the thing, is none of this has to be complex.
No.
We don't have to have the complexity in there. All we've got to do is keep on going to those points in our body, and we'll find that we feel absolutely beautiful. It's surprising what you can get just by learning to breathe a little deeper inside your body.
Totally. It's all about that and many things. So guys, please take the time to go and see and meet Ben. And like I said, he has his social handles where you can see everything that he's doing, from his events to his classes. Like he said, he has his brother who's the master of, where this journey as a family as well. It's lovely that they've embarked on this, and I can hear how, Ben and how they work together as well. It's really profound. And that's where they're on an ultimate mission to just keep educating and bringing people into, and with your Bowens as well. I had that amazing technique from you. Thank you, because it truly works. And I urge all of you, if you're listening, please look at Linktree/Ben Calder, Integral Health, and go and check him out for Russell Brand's event, which is the community event. And just thank you, Ben, and keep doing amazing things. I look forward to hopefully seeing you real soon when you're finished your events. We're going to get together because we're going to chat and, do some more. Because guys, when you find somebody that's magical, we do a retreats ourselves. I want to sit down and have a little bit of, a chat with Ben to see how we want some men involved, and we need more men that comes forward with this, because I've got some powerful souls around me always. And it's like some of these men need to have a little bit of rejuvenation to know that you don't have to be 100 miles an hour to do this stuff. You can just connect. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. You can do this work, can't you, Ben?
Absolutely. And this is it. I think that so many people get so hung up on getting things right or doing it at a right level. And for the most part, actually, all we need to do is do a little thing. So, take your diet, for instance. Make one thing on your plate healthier today and just keep on refining that. Do yourself a little bit of movement. You don't think you've got time for it? Stand up right now and do your favorite yoga pose for 10 seconds while you're breathing, and then you did yoga today. So look for the small things, look for the wins, and focus on really giving yourself the thing you want, because if you don't, you're going to get bored waiting for other people to do it.
Love that. Thank you, Ben. Absolutely been wonderful to have you on my show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your love, and just everything that you do with that profound energy. And keep doing what you are. And I look forward to seeing you at your next event. And love and light to you.
Thank you so much. Love it. Thanks, Laura.
God bless. See you soon. Bye-bye.